Hi guys, thank you for joining me today for this lush, gentle yoga practice we're going to do together. Now, the only prop you're going to want to have is either a lovely big cushion or pillow. A bolster might be a little bit strong, so you may want to have something a bit squidgier. It doesn't have to be as big as this, it can be a smaller, squarer pillow, but something that we can use to support for opening up the heart today. And I will meet you on the mat in just a moment. So placing the pillow lengthways up the mat and then bring the bum down to the floor. Now, if you're working with a smaller pillow or a smaller towel, you might not want it close to the bum. But if it's a longer one like mine, like a big pillow from the bed, you may want to have it close towards the sit bones. Legs are going to go out nice and wide and then relax all the way down. Now your head may drop off the end, which is great, and the arms can go out nice and wide. And take a moment to soften. Arrive here today. Today's practice is all about working with the heart, listening to our heartbeat, and allowing the energy to move from the heart center out to the tips of the fingers, but equally also through the rest of the body. So we'll be stretching and expanding the body from the heart out, thinking about the side body as well as the front and back of the body, but particularly focusing on the thoracic area, the chest and the space between the shoulder blades. And when we consider the heart, we weren't going to really work with the movement, the rhythm, the pace, the fact that the heart is a non-tiring muscle of the body, constantly pumping blood around our bodies for our entire life. An incredible energy. Our breath and our heart are closely connected, so we can control the rhythm of the breath with our heartbeat and vice versa. So when we start to run really fast, the heart will elevate, the breath will quicken. But equally, if we want to slow down the heartbeat, we can slow down the breath to slow down the heart, or speed the heart rate up by speeding up the breath. So they're very closely connected and work together. Our emotions also affect the heart. So if we're feeling stressed and anxious, the heartbeat may be faster. You may feel the pumping quite strongly in the chest. And when we're relaxed and calm, the heartbeat can be very soft and slow, mimicking that chilled sort of vibe through the body. It's also believed within Chinese traditional medicine that the heart is where all of the emotions begin or originate, and then they move through the entire body. But we want to keep the movement of emotions like the blood, the flow, and if they get stuck in areas of the body, that's when we can have problems in that particular part of the body. This is just a belief within Chinese traditional medicine. You don't have to adhere to that sort of belief system. But keeping the chi, the energy moving through the body, is really important for creating balance. And remembering we need that lift as well as the lower of the heart. We want to find balance. The inhale is connected to the sympathetic drive, our stress response system of the autonomic nervous system. And the exhale is connected to the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest. We need both. But in this practice, considering it's a more gentle practice, we will be focusing more on the gentle side of the nervous system, but we will elevate the heart rate a little bit, just enough to feel the pulsing a little bit more intensely in the chest. Don't worry, we're not going to be doing anything too crazy. So enjoy 1 or maybe 2 more breaths, depending on how slow you want to breathe today. Opening up the chest area, letting the diaphragm have more space to push down into the abdominal cavity. And as we start to slowly lift the chin to the chest, we're going to draw the knees in towards the heart center, maybe wrapping around the shins or the hamstrings, tucking everything in. And as you've got the pillow behind you, it's kind of supporting you a little bit here, so you feel a little bit more support. Then you can either release the hands or the elbows to the floor or roll up to a comfortable seated position, crossing at the ankles. And you may want to sit yourself up onto that cushion if you find that the pelvis is tucking under and preventing you from being able to open up the upper part of the body. In order to feel the spaciousness through the front of the chest, we're going to want to have the pelvis to be free to move. So it's kind of important that the whole spine is connected, not just let's open the chest. I mean, if you slouch your body and try and open your chest, you can't do it. You have to start from the pelvis to find that neutral position first, and then the rest of the spine will follow. So find that position where you can keep the body elevated, you can keep open through the chest. And we're going to place the hands to the heart center. Now your heart is roughly the size of your fist in the center of your chest, maybe slightly over to the left side, but we generally feel the heart more on the left because of the left ventricle pumping the blood around the body. Our heart is generally speaking right in the center, and every person, every body's anatomy is slightly different, which I think is quite cool, is that actually if you were to open up every single person in the world, just have a check where their heart is, it may be slightly different. So it's not like absolutely in one spot. I mean, it's not going to be down here or like up here. It's generally speaking this kind of area. But they are all slightly unique. Also, our heartbeat rhythm is completely unique to you. Like your thumbprint, your fingerprints, your heartbeat is only yours. And I think that's really cool. But then I would geek out on something like that, wouldn't I? I'm like, wow, cool, man. It's really cool. Your heartbeat is totally unique. So listen to the beat of your heart. It's also going to be changeable. It's going to adjust and move. But take a moment to hear the heart beating. Your heart beating. On the next inhalation, stretch the arms out wide. Bring the hands behind you and interlace the fingers, squeezing the shoulder blades back behind to open up through the heart center. Now avoid throwing the head backwards and see if we can really activate the upper back. So rather than just pinging into the elbows, we're trying to squeeze the shoulder blades back. And then maybe just slightly lifting the chest. So the chest is going to open, so the neck will then take a little bit of a following. Rather than throwing the head back, the chin might raise slightly. Inhale. Exhale to release. Bring the hands and either wrap them around the shoulders and tuck in and round, or you may prefer to bring the hands to the heart center, elbows tuck in and fold forward. Notice that kind of cuddling of the body and the opening of the space behind the shoulder blades. We'll inhale, open up again, arms stretch out wide. Hands come down behind you, interlace the fingers and squeeze the shoulder blades together, opening up through the heart center. And then the heart's just going to puff forward slightly, which will then just lift the chin a tiny amount. So we're not throwing the head backwards. Feel a little bit of activation in the backs of the shoulders. So you're feeling your shoulder blades trying to retract, close together. We'll release the arms, and if we crossed one over the other, swap and do the other arm. Doesn't matter if you don't remember. Hugging in and tucking in. Or hands come to the heart center, elbows drop in, and you can round. And if you want to come all the way down to the floor, if you have that flexibility or you feel like you want to come down here, you can do so. Inhale to come all the way back up or unravel the arms. Reach the arms up high. Take a big stretch. And then we're going to make our way onto our hands and our knees. So you can move your cushion if you're sat onto a cushion just off to the side momentarily. We're going to come back to it in a minute. Coming into our tabletop position, and again, working with releasing from the tailbone up towards the chest. So have a little go at wiggling the hips up and down, getting a bit of movement here in the pelvis, up towards the crown of the head. Just enjoy a little bit of a rhythm through the spine. Now you can move around a little bit more freely, starting to work the shoulder blades. Remember, the head is also connected to the neck, which is part of the spine. You can move the hips around, you can move the elbows, and just have a little explore of freeing up the body to then release into the heart center, front, back, and sides. I love it because the heart's in the middle, yeah? The heart's in the middle here. And really, when we think about having to release this space, we don't just want to open the front and the back. We also want to check in with the sides of the rib cage. And we tend to get very tight around the rib area, sitting at desks all day, not really doing much reaching. Generally speaking, this is a tight space. So having that freedom just to move and open up into the intercostal muscles, the muscles in between the rib cage, just seeing what we can expand and explore. Good, one more breath. Then come back to somewhere a little bit more neutral. Right hand's going to go behind the skull. We're going to inhale, twist the right elbow up to the sky. And as we exhale, right elbow draws across towards the left wrist. Twist. Inhale, we lift the right elbow back up to twist, push down to the left hand. And exhale, elbow crosses towards the left wrist. 2 more times. Inhale. See if you can keep the sacrum a little bit stable. Open up. Exhale, across and twist. 1 more time. Inhale to lift. Exhale to twist. Good. Inhale to lift. This time, reach the right arm up as high as it can go. Maybe look up to the right hand. And then bring the arm forward, placing the hand beyond the left, and then drop the right forearm down to the earth. Your left hand will then slide back underneath the left shoulder. And I want you to imagine that you've really glued the forearm of the right hand and the right hand down into the floor. Right arm, sorry, and the right hand. And then we're trying to pull back. Now, if you want to drop your forehead to the ground, you can. Or you can keep your head a little bit lifted and just have that pulling feeling. So you're going to get a stretch relatively all the way down the side of the body from the elbow towards the rib cage, towards the hip, even into the waist area, wherever you might feel it. It feels amazing. So remember that opening up the side of the body as well as opening up into the front and the back. Just a couple more breaths here. Good, then joining the left forearm down to the floor next to the right, slide into your Sphinx position and have a bit of a wiggle around. So you might want to wiggle and turn and look over towards the feet, get the neck moving. You might want to open the chest a bit more, roll the shoulders around, just explore where it feels interesting to play. Notice what's going on in your body today. You can even move the legs, the feet. The whole body is connected. It's the joy of being able to kind of feel and tap into not just one area. So when we're thinking about the heart, we're then vibrating that out to every aspect of the body. Good. Now we're going to place the left hand down, out to the side, shoulder into the ground, and drop the left ear to the floor. You might then want to just slide the right knee out to the right side so you're in that froggy, half froggy position. This may be enough here, and as we lift up the right arm, this might be plenty. Or you can push the fingertips or the palm of the right hand into the floor, roll onto the left hip, and throw that right leg back behind you, grounding it behind you, then twisting up the right arm. This is going to make the stretch a lot stronger, so go easy on your body. And even gazing up with the right eye to the hand. Breathe. You'll feel quite a strong stretch all the way from the shoulder, kind of the front of the chest, down to the fingers of the left hand. and then up through the heart and out to the right hand. It's a nice twist as well here, so releasing the spine all the way up to the head. As we make our way back slowly onto the belly, just gently coming back, we're going to swap sides. So the right hand goes out, palm facing down, and drop the right ear to the floor. You may want to just slide the left knee out to the left side, coming into that half frog sort of position. And then as the left arm lifts up, only as high as it can go, we can stay here. Or press the left hand into the floor, roll onto the right hip and throw the left leg back behind you. Then lifting up the left arm, maybe gazing up to the hand with the left eye. Feel the intensity that you want to work with. Doesn't matter how far you go, but notice the stretch, notice the feeling. Breathe. There may be the little gazumba issue, so you need to tuck the gazumbas out the way, ladies. You can. Just feeling the pecs getting a nice strong expansion. And then we'll roll all the way back onto the chest, nice and slowly. Hands will tuck close towards the body. We'll lift up to our tabletop pose. And we're going to come into a puppy, but let it be a bit more extended. So the arms will reach forward. The forehead might come down to the floor. And we're going to pull forward with the arms and back with the hips, so nothing's really moving. So it's like we've plugged the hands into the floor. We're glued in. And then we're just lengthening through the spine. So this bowing, surrendering position of the heart, but we're not just collapsing the chest down to the floor. We're trying to reach and extend. And if you find that you get more space, you need to wiggle your hands a bit further forward, you can do so. Just avoid being a little bit too far over onto the patella, the kneecaps. So I'd rather you had a little bit more of the hips behind the knees rather than the hips in front of the knees, which is a bit wobbly on your kneecaps. You'll feel what's comfortable for you and what's uncomfortable. Take another breath here. Really enjoy that lengthening. And then sliding back into the child pose position. Bum towards the heels. They don't have to connect. And the arms will drop down the sides of the body and let the shoulders relax. Breathe. Take a moment to notice how your body feels. And can you recognize the heartbeat? Can you hear it? Can you feel it? Pulsing through your body. Where is the warmth, the coolness? And then making your way back onto the hands and the knees, coming back into tabletop pose. And start to play with the pelvic movements back and forward, rippling through to the crown of the head. So it's kind of like a little cat-cow, but it's a little bit more free and connected rather than it having to be a deep opening. And you might then want to free up a little bit more movement by moving around as much as you would like and just wiggle the shoulder blades. So remember, the shoulder blades are kind of the part of your arm. That's where the arm begins. That's connected to your thoracic area. So if the shoulder blades are stuck, we're going to have less capacity to open the arm and to free up that space around the front and the back of the heart. So shoulders here and shoulder blades are quite important to free up so we have movement in the center of the body. Good. And then the left hand will come behind the skull. Inhale, we lift open. And exhale, left elbow draws towards the right wrist. Inhale to lift up, twist. Exhale, elbow to right wrist. Inhale to lift up, so you can keep the sacrum a little bit central. Exhale, elbow to wrist. One more time. Inhale to lift. Twist. Exhale, elbow to wrist. Last time to lift up, we stretch the left arm up as high as we can, circle the arm up and around to the top of the mat and drop the left hand into the ground, left forearm, and then maybe bring the right hand a little bit further back so we can pull back on that left arm, pretending that it's glued into the floor. Your head might want to drop down to the ground, or you might want to keep the head slightly lifted. Just pull back. And see where you can feel the stretch. Hopefully from the elbow towards the armpit, towards the rib cage, towards the hip, and beyond. Made that sound very dramatic. But you might feel it somewhere else. Couple more breaths. And then slowly, slowly, we'll bring the right forearm down to the Sphinx next to the left, slide onto the pelvis, and maybe a little bit of movement if it's needed. You can be still. If you don't need movement or don't want movement, that's also fine. Just feeling the movement rippling from the center outwards. Notice where it takes you. Good. And then we're going to extend the right arm flat down to the floor. Roll onto the right hip. Maybe the left leg comes out to the side. Maybe the left arm comes up. Or we roll onto the right hip, throw the left leg behind and reach that left arm up. Palm is facing down, so try and maintain the right palm into the ground. Looking up to the hand, maybe the left eye. Feel the stretch. It's quite intense. So notice if you are breathing, that'd be good. And then we'll swap sides. So we come back down slowly. So really come out of this pose gently. Left hand comes out, palm facing down. Left ear comes down to the floor, roll to the left hip. Maybe the right knee comes out. Maybe the right arm comes up. Maybe you push onto that left hip. The right leg goes all the way behind to intensify. And then we lift the right arm up. Breathing here, feeling the stretch. Feel the shoulder blades kind of closing towards each other. Keep the breath moving. And then we'll gently roll back onto the belly. Hands will come tucked underneath the chest. We'll lift all the way back up to tabletop. Walk the hands forward into our puppy pose. So find that surrendering position. But then lengthen. So think about creating space. It's like we're trying to expand from the center in all directions. Imagining that the heart is like a big fire or a big light. And it's expanding in every direction. Not just forward, not just backwards, but in every direction possible. So really trying to stretch and expand that. Expanding into that feeling. Take another breath here. And then the bum will slide down towards the heels. The arms can come down to the sides of the body into your child pose position. And take a break. Notice the heartbeat. Is it fast? Is it slow? What happens when you draw the attention into this area of your body? What else can be felt? If it's something unsettling, just become aware of that and know that if it's too intense to focus here, we can always just work with the breath, because the breath is still going to be affecting the heart. So allowing the breath to be balanced and stable. A 6-second inhale, 6-second exhale. Coherent breathing. Or if you need to find a bit more elongation with your exhale, you can do so. You'll feel very lifted in the body. And nice and slowly, if we want to, we can come into a downward facing dog position. If that feels appropriate for you today and you want a little bit of more an inversion. If it doesn't feel appropriate and you want to come back into the puppy pose, you can. So coming back onto the knees and dropping the chest down. So choosing the variation to suit the energy that you're feeling today. We're just here for a few moments, maybe wiggling the spine, moving around a little bit. Maybe wiggling the hips, moving the shoulders. And then we'll start to make our way into a dangle pose at the top of the mat. So you can walk or step the feet forward, maybe softening at the knees, lengthening the spine. At the head, maybe yes, yes, no, no. So give the head a bit of freedom to move and find that lovely inversion in the body. We don't have to do handstands, shoulder stands, headstands to do inversions. All we have to do is lift the hips higher than the heart. Let the heart be lower. And we've got some lovely inversions going on here. Now, as we curl up nice and slowly, push down through the feet. Gently rise up. Keep the knees a little bit soft. So the pelvis will stay in a kind of more neutral plane as we come all the way up to standing tall. We're going to keep the knees soft here and buoyant as we allow the pelvis to then wiggle back and forward. So remember I'm saying if we want to open the chest, we want to have the pelvis to be free to move. I know a lot of people find this movement hard. So don't think about your arms, think about a skipping rope. If you were to wiggle one end of the skipping rope, the rest would follow. So let the upper body be the rest. The pelvis is back and forward action. It's like tucking under. So anterior tilt to a posterior tilt. And you can focus on this part and then just let the rest of the body kind of follow. You're going to want to keep your knees a bit bent so that you can actually allow the pelvis to move. If you keep the legs straight, it's a little bit less mobile. You might have quite a lot of mobility anyway, but just allow there to be free movement. And if you find this easy, you may want to play with movement of the arms. So you can work with, it's almost like, when you pat your head and rub your tummy and then vice versa. We're starting to work into the cerebellum. So that working with coordination of movement, accuracy of movement, and also balance. Kind of the three major things here. But avoid doing side to side hip movements. So you can go forward and back. There's nothing wrong with side to side. It's lovely. This is not what we're trying to do here. Good, then find your way into what we'd consider to be a neutral position. We're going to run through a slow, gentle sun salutation, focusing on the heart space and opening up. So bringing your hands to the heart center, listen to your heartbeat. You may decide to close your eyes and practice focusing on its rhythm and anything else that can be felt in this particular space in your body. Observe. Rather than judge, can we simply become an observer of our body? On the inhale, we'll lift the arms up high and take a gentle opening of the heart. It doesn't have to be a deep back bend. Exhaling to fold forward slowly, softening the knees if you would like to, and dangle the upper body. The right leg will lunge back, knee will drop down into the ground, and we'll curl up the body, taking a wide cactus-like stance with the arms. We're opening up the chest. Engage your buttocks a little bit here and avoid just sinking into the lower back too much. Think about opening up the chest and pulling the shoulder blades back, elbows wide. The right hand will come down to the earth and we'll twist the left arm open and just go as far as your body wants to twist open. So winging all the way round as it feels good to do so. Then framing the left foot, slide the left leg back to join the right and make your way down however you would like to onto your belly. We'll bring the hands behind us, either interlacing the fingers or keeping them wide. And maybe just pulling the shoulder blades back, lifting the hands if that feels enough. Or lifting the chest, keep the chin a little bit tucked. Maybe lifting the legs. Take an inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to make a sound, a hum sound. The chakra for the heart is hum. So inhale, hum. Release the hands under the chest. Push all the way back up and either taking the child pose position if you would like to, so bum towards the heels, or the downward facing dog. Just check in with your energy levels and where you want your body to go. Breathe. There can always be movement if you need to move, or stillness if the stillness is required. Now we're stepping forward with the right leg. You can always drop the knees down first, lunge the right leg forward, left knee is down. I'm going to twist the right arm up, opening the chest. Winging that right arm as wide as it can go. Then we come up with the left arm and come into that cactus low lunge, opening the heart. Breathing here, creating space through the front of the heart and closing the back. Good. Hands will then frame the front right foot. We'll step the feet back to the top of the mat. Standing forward fold. Curling up smoothly. All the way up to standing. We're going to keep moving. So we'll lift the arms up to the sky. Take that little back bend. And exhale, folding back down. Knees can stay soft. We'll lunge back with the left leg. Drop the left knee down. And twist the right arm up. Big twist. We're going to come all the way back up, opening up through the heart, into the cactus. And then as we bring the hands to frame the right foot, we'll slide back, right leg, and make our way down onto the belly. Any way that works for your body. Interlace the fingers behind the back. Pull the shoulder blades towards each other and maybe lift the chest, maybe lift the legs. Keep the chin a little bit tucked. We inhale for our hum. Hum. Release the hands underneath the shoulders and push back into either child pose or downward facing dog. Remember, you can add movement in here or just lengthen through the body, breathing slowly. Now we're coming back forward with the left leg to drop the right knee down and come all the way back up into the low lunge, open chest cactus. Then we'll reach down with the right hand and twist the left arm up. Then we will frame the left foot and step the right foot to join, folding forward. Inhale to curl all the way back up to standing. The arms will come up high. We've completed the circle. Palms will touch. Hands will come back down to the heart center and just check in with the heartbeat. What does it feel like now? Can we slow down the breath with a long exhalation, or do we need to speed up the breath? Now, you're more than welcome to always come back and do as many of those as you'd like, or we're going to make our way onto the back and lie down for a minute. Might have been enough. You're like, yeah, I'm wiped, I'm good. So placing the hands back to the heart, I'm going to take a couple of minutes just to soften, release. Maybe closing down the eyes. Maybe allowing your body to softly just kind of almost sink into the ground. And then spending the next just few minutes listening to your heart's lullaby. your unique song. Notice the heartbeat. How does it feel? Is it louder, quieter? What else can be felt in this space in your body? Then very slowly wiggle the toes, rotate the ankles, bend the knees and root the feet into the floor. And we're going to roll all the way onto the left side. Palms going to come to press one on top of the other. And if you do need a pillow under your head, you can take it, or you can allow the head just to roll with the flow of this twist. So the top hand, the right hand, is going to slide beyond the left, letting the shoulder blade kind of expand away from the back. Then bring the right arm over the head and around to the twist, trying to keep the sacrum relatively stable. So you may need to place the left hand to the outside of the right thigh, twisting that right arm all the way round, and then keep going so the right hand comes back down towards the hip and rolling back into the fetal position, palms together. We'll go again. Slide the right hand away from the left, bring it up and over the head, twist it around towards the right, let the head just follow, coming back down towards the hip and back to the hand. One more time, we're going to stay in the twist this time. So right hand extends away, over the head, twisting around, and this time pausing in the twist. Don't worry if the right shoulder doesn't come down to the floor. You may want to take the left hand and place it to the outside of the right thigh, or maybe even reaching the left arm slightly away to bring the shoulder blade down to the floor a little bit more. And I quite like to place the left hand to the center of the heart to feel the energy from the heart reaching out towards the right hand and noticing the heartbeat. Breathe. Where can you relax in this position? And is there any way that you can soften into the areas of your body that really don't need to be gripped, that don't need to be bound? Notice the flow of breath. Notice the flow of chi, or whatever energy you work with. Your heart pumps energy, blood around your entire body all day and all night. We're just going to tap into that feeling of flowing, of flushing through the system. Then very slowly, bring the right arm back down towards the hip and come back into the fetal pose to the left side. You need to place the right hand under the head. If you're not on a pillow, that's fine. Just support the head. A few moments to breathe here. And then we'll roll all the way to the other side. So the knees will drop to the right. Right hand out long, left palm on top. And then slide the left hand away so the shoulder blade slides forward or out to the side. Left hand will go up and over the head as we take the big circle around into the twist, maybe just propping that left thigh with the right hand. And then bring the left arm all the way down to the hip and back out to the right palm. Sliding the left hand away. Circle it up and over the head. Twisting, open that left arm. Back towards the hip. One more full round. But keeping the twist this time. So left hand slides away. Circle over the head. Pausing into the twist, maybe shifting the right shoulder slightly, right shoulder blade slightly over to the right. Maybe that right hand just presses to the left thigh. You may discover one side is tighter than the other or more flexible. We do not have to bring the left shoulder down to the floor. We're feeling the expansion all the way from the heart out to the fingers. And again, you might like to place the right hand to the center of the heart and listen. Checking in with your breath. How does the heart feel? It's amazing how the heart might change rhythm, how it might pulse faster just from very simple movements, or how it might slow down really quickly. It's so incredibly adaptive. We're just paying attention to that today. And if the heart doesn't feel particularly strong, if the pulse isn't very kind of obvious, don't panic, don't worry, it's still there, you're still alive. But just notice what else might be coming up that's almost more prominent than the heartbeat. Listen to what's happening viscerally in the space of the heart. You may just be surprised what you do discover. May just be warmth, tingling. Anything we feel is valid. And you can observe that movement of energy right from the chest all the way to the tips of the fingers. And then slowly bringing the left arm back round, coming back to the fetal pose. The left hand might want to tuck underneath the head momentarily in the little fetal position. And then rolling onto the back. So we're going to take our pillow and lift up the hips and place the pillow underneath the sacrum just for an extra bit of support. Our legs are going to go straight up to the sky, but the knees can be softly bent and the arms are going to go up to the sky. Shoulder blades connected to the floor. Now the pillow is only there to take the effort out of the legs. If you don't need the pillow, you don't need the pillow. If you prefer to come and take your legs up against a wall, you can do that as well, or a chair or a sofa. We're here for a good few minutes, so get comfortable. Now, feeling the energy, the blood flow, the lymphatic system starting to move from the toes and the fingers down the body and back to the heart. Taking the effort out of the heart having to pump constantly up the legs and letting everything sort of drain down back to the heart, pulling everything into the heart center. Notice how that feels for your body. How does it feel energetically as well as physically? Maybe it's very uplifting, very re-energizing. Maybe there's a heaviness to this or a lightness. So notice what can be felt here. And if you need to wiggle toes or fingers or even shake or vibrate, you can always do this to help shift stuff along or if you get a little bit kind of tingly, you need a bit of blood flow to come back up to these areas of your body. And as we very gently begin to slowly lower the feet down to the floor first, just let the arms open and almost float down into the ground. If you want to keep the pillow under the pelvis and just slide the legs away, you can. It's a slight inversion of the hips, or you can bring the body flat down to the floor. It's completely up to you. But then have that feeling of everything from the center pouring back down into the limbs. Feel like your entire body is expanding from the center outwards. The visual I get when I say that is like containing water and then opening that out, and it just spreads in every direction. Or you could think about it as light, like holding light into the center and then releasing the light so it can go wherever it can reach. And then very slowly, we're going to re-bend the knees and ground the soles of the feet to the floor. Lift the hips up just to slide our pillow from underneath if it's still there, and drop the back down to the ground. And we can hug the knees into the chest gently, maybe tucking the nose towards the knees, so rounding the spine. And you can either roll to one side first or roll straight up to the sit bones. And this time we're going to place our pillow widthways across the mat. So it's going to go behind kind of the shoulder blade area, and kind of bra strap region. Even if you're male, you know where the bra strap is, right? So it's not hard to know. Now we're going to try and bring the shoulders down to the floor. So shoulders want to hit the ground, so make sure that pillow isn't too high or too low. The head also wants to be on the ground. And we're going to bring the hands, so either placing one hand underneath the other over the head, or interlace the fingers. Now, if you need an extra pillow or a block underneath the hands, if your arms can't rest, or if they don't come down to the floor, then bring something else underneath the hands if you need it. Your soles of the feet will also connect, and you can slide the feet a little further away, or you can draw them really close towards the groin. So it depends what feels, again, the most comfortable for your hips. And if you need to have cushions or a bolster or something underneath your knees for comfort, then do take that as well. So get into this position a little bit more comfortably. Now we're going to do a little breathing practice here. So imagining a figure of 8 starting from the heart center. We inhale down one leg and then exhale up the other back to the heart. Then we inhale up the arm into this figure of 8, exhale down the other arm and back to the heart center. And just keep this rhythm going. It doesn't matter which direction you've gone in, but that figure of 8 with breath up and around the hands, the arms, and down through the heart, down into the lower body, through the other leg, and back up to the heart. So every time we come back to the heart center. following the breath. And if you want to count this for a count of 6, so kind of doing your coherent breathing practice, so 6 seconds down towards the foot, 6 seconds as you breathe out back towards the heart, and etc. You can. Or just follow what feels natural for your breath and your body. And if you want to visualize either water flow, blood flow, light, if that helps to stay connected to the body in this figure of 8, you can do so too. So using this rhythm of breath here, the infinity signal, the continuous motion. Nice and slowly, we're going to close the legs, release the hands, the arms, and deciding on whether you want to roll off to one side or tuck the chin to the chest to just remove the bolster, the pillow, either bringing underneath the knees, or I like to bring it over the chest. So you can place it onto the top of the body, protecting the front of your body, your heart, and either placing your hands to the heart area, if that feels comfortable for your arms, or just letting the arms drop where they are comfortable. And then again, having that feeling of warmth and comfort in the center and expansion out to all the corners of your body. We'll take a few minutes here just to rest into Shavasana. Now you're more than welcome to stay here for as long as you need, or ready to move out, start to gently move from the fingers back to the center, or from the center out to the fingers and the toes. Maybe stretching, yawning, maybe a big audible sigh to release. If you've still got that pillow, maybe hug around it, hugging the knees in. You might want to drop to one side and just pause in a little fetal position. And lift the body up nice and slowly, coming into a comfortable seat. And perhaps if you want to sit onto that cushion to elevate the sit bones so that the pelvis can stay in that neutral plane, so we're not slouching the body and closing the heart center. So opening up and feeling that space. And just take your time to arrive here. As we inhale for one final stretch, sweep the arms up to the sky and feel all the space from the heart center sprinkling up to the tips of the fingers, the palms connect. Exhale, draw the hands down towards the center. And then really quickly make friction between the hands to create some heat. When your hands feel hot, it might take a while, sometimes my fingers are freezing. Bring the palms to the heart. Notice your heartbeat one final time. And find gratitude. This incredible part of your body that's constantly moving. The life energy. Namaste.